Good day, everyone. So, if you're just getting started with Figma, this is the best place for you. So, today I'm going to be teaching us the basics of Figma. This is a beginner friendly tutorial. So, if this is your first time hearing about Figma, this is the first time hearing about UI UX design, welcome to my YouTube channel. So, first of all, to get started, you are going to Chrome. You'll be needing Chrome. In case you don't have the Figma app on your laptop installed, you're going to be needing Chrome. So, just come to Chrome. Click on New tab and type in www.figma.com. Once you do that, it's going to be leading you to an interface. This is the interface you're expected to see. Okay, for the first time, this is the interface you're expected to see. So when you see this interface, you click on Get Started because you don't have an account yet, except you have an account. If you have an account, go ahead and start logging in. But because this is a beginner-friendly app, I don't expect you to have an account yet. So just click on this and then enter an email of your choice. Make sure that the email you're entering here is an email you can access because you're going to be sent an email at the end of signing up. So make sure you can access this email, and the password can be any password of your choice. So now I'm going to go ahead and create my account and expect them to send me an email, which I would verify. Okay, so I'm going to check my email right now. So yes, see the email here. Then voila, I've verified my email. I'll be expecting my blank new Figma file to be open. So this is what you're going to see. Okay. Yes. So this is the first thing you're going to see. They're going to ask you to put in your name. Just put in any name of your choice. You can skip this process. For this video, I will just want to go through some of them. Just keep putting anything you want here. It doesn't really, I don't think it matters though. Don't quote me. Yes, I don't think it really matters. Just continue. For this part, I'm going to skip it. So just continue. Continue. Almost done. We're almost there. Now, you're going to be using the starter pack because you don't have, except you want to pay. There is a space for you to use the professional if you are a student. You can put in your email and all of that. That will be for another video because I currently, in my main account, I'm using a Figma student profile. But we are going to be using starter application for this. So you see the features you can get for free. One project with 3 files, limited pages in file, 30 days version history. So that these are the only things you can get with a starter pack. We are going to go ahead because yeah, why not? So we're going to continue. What would you like to do first? Design with Figma. So there is FigJam. In case you don't know, there is something like FigJam. It's not majorly for designing, it's majorly for brainstorming, for ideas. If you want to design, fine, but I know, just Figma, for designing. FigJam, you can use it. The latest introduction, Figma slide. That will be for another day, but let's just go ahead with this while we wait for our mobile website to load up. So yeah, this is the first thing you see here. I think this is a new system. They have some practice for you. So this is the first thing they want you to see, the Figma basics, meet in 33 minutes. Okay, they just want you to practice. This is the first thing you're going to see, a practice with Figma. Maybe later you should come back to this. I think you should come back to this particular, because it's in your drafts. This particular page this Figma basic page is in your draft. So I think you should come back to this for practice. For now, we're going to go back to our files. The major interface you're supposed to see at every start of your anytime you open this app. Sorry, website. So this is the first thing you're supposed to see. This file is already prepared for you in the drafts. Okay. So now in Figma, if you look at this interface, there is themes. So this is my first theme, and I think the only theme I can create. I don't think I can create any other theme here. But let's check because it is free. I don't know how free. So this is the first theme. Okay. Now the way Figma is organized is such a way that you have a team, and inside the team you have projects. Okay, if I click on all projects, I don't have a project here. Okay, there is a project created for you. Okay, now inside the how it is structured is this: you have a team. Inside the team, you have a project, and inside the project, you have your files, your pages. Inside the pages, you can start designing. Okay, that is how Figma is structured. So you're going to wait and see what they're going to show us here. But just have it in mind that you create a team, you're expected to create a team first, then a project, then file. So now we have this team that was created for us, the first ever team here. You can create new team if you want. Just give it a name. This is if you are tired of using the first one. But I you don't need it, but I'm just trying to teach us how to create a team. Okay. Again, you have to skip this. Okay. Oh, so this is it. I don't think you can create a new team with a starter pack. Okay. I don't think you can create a new team. So therefore, we are going to just go back and use the one they created for us. Okay. So now just bear in mind that in Figma you have teams. The teams will give rise to a project, and the projects give rise to a page. So now we are going to use this particular project. We'll still rename it to the name we want, but this is project inside FigCraft team. So we'll just go ahead to open a page here. You're just going to create a page here. So the page is where we work on everything you're going to be doing on the Figma. Every design you're going to be creating on Figma, you're going to do it inside of your frame. So now we go ahead. You can decide to, because this is the project, team project, you can rename any of them we want. We're going to rename it. You're also going to rename name this page, this particular file we are working on. So remember, you have a team, which was in my case Fig Crafts. Then we have a project, then we have a file. So we are this the interface you're seeing now is your file. Okay. What you are looking at, the workspace you are looking at is your file. So once this loads up, we are going to go ahead to start using our file. We're going to go ahead to start creating projects on our file. So let's wait for it to load up. I think why it's taking time is because this is like the first contact. By the time we start designing here, it's not going to take that much time again to load. So yeah. I think I'll have to. Okay. So this is taking longer than I expected. But yeah, what are we going to do? We're going to wait for it. So if you're just getting started in Figma, Figma is a great tool. There is Adobe XD, there is Adobe Sketch. I mean, there are so many tools you can do UI UX on, but trust me, Figma is like the very best application you can use for your designing. It's like very friendly. Really, really friendly app. So by the time we start using it, you see the reason why everybody's like Figma, Figma, Figma. Like it's the only mobile, it's the only website where you can design on. Okay, there's so many things you can do here. Well, yeah, that's it. Now it's open. Now our mobile is open, our workspace. So I'll go straight to the layers. So you can see that everything in this layer panel that I clicked on is empty. There is nothing in our workspace. Our workspace is like a blank place right now. So we are going to just be walking through everything here on the toolbar, going to make us familiar with what these things are about. First of all, let's go ahead and change the name of our file. The name is currently untitled. So we are going to be changing it by double clicking. When you double click on that untitled, you change the name. So I'm going to be naming this basics of Figma. Yes, we have our file basics of Figma. So we are going to go ahead and walk through the process. First of all, I'm going to be creating something. And when you want to create something, mostly screens. I know what designers create is usually mobile application, websites, and all of that stuff. So the first thing you want to do is to put a container, something like a screen where all your design is going to go into. The tool you first need is a frame. So a frame is like your container. It is that screen you see where the whole cart and the navigation button and everything is placed inside. So that is your frame. A frame is a container for every element you are going to put on your screen. So we'll go ahead. Where will we find frame? In the third tool here, as the one beside the one highlighted, this tool is called region tool. When you scroll on it, you click on it, you click on frame. So if you notice something, when I open this frame, there is a letter beside it, F. Just the way shift plus S is in section, there's F here. So this is to tell you that the shortcut for frame is F. So once you click on F in your keyboard, you can be able to create a frame. But we'll just go ahead because you've clicked it. Just click on the frame. You will notice that the arrow changes. The arrow in your workspace changes from a cursor to is going to change to a cross. Now there are two ways you can put a frame in. Either you drag it, holding shift key, or just drag this thing here, and you're going to be having a frame. You're going to be having a frame. So it's either you do this or you go back to the frame, click on it, and come to the right side, right panel. And when you get to the right panel, you'll see recommended screens and their fixed sizes. So for instance, there is iPhone 14, there is iPhone 13, there is iPhone 14 mini plus, 13 mini, and then there is Android large, Android small. So what's this? There is even desktop, tablet, presentation, and all of that stuff. So what this particular right side panel does for you once you click on your frame is that they will bring out fixed recommended sizes for iPhone. For instance, if you click on iPhone 8, this is the exact size of iPhone 8 on your phone, on your screen, wherever in the world. Yeah. I'm going to be using Android Large because I like using Android Large. So I'm just going to click on it. So once you click on it, the frame automatically comes into your system, into your workspace. Okay. You see? If I had gone ahead to use this smaller one, I won't be using the size for iPhone, for Android. So this is the recommended size for Android. So now notice there are two ways you can add a frame to your workspace. Either you create it by yourself manually, or you go ahead to the recommended. Okay, you choose any of this one recommended here. So now if I want to duplicate this, I'll just click on it. To know that this thing has been selected, there will be these blue corners around it. So just click on it, select it, any of them you want to select it, then control your keyboard, control E. So now it's duplicated, or you can do control C, copy and paste, control C and control V. So now we have these frames here. I'll just go ahead to duplicate them into 3 places. You notice there are 2 inside of the screen. Now if you want to adjust the sizes of your frame, just adjust this, come to this corner, to the last thing you're going to see here is the zoom in and zoom out. So once you click here, you're going to be able to zoom in. Zoom in is to make it even bigger, more into your face. But if I want to zoom out, I'm just going to click on it. Now it makes it a bit smaller for me. It's at 25%. I want to change it because if you feel it is too far away from you, you can just like click on, probably come to this place where there is 25, highlight it or delete it, and then click on probably 40. So with 40 it is closer to me, or do 50. Okay, so now you can see that it's okay for me. If you don't want to use this option on this place, you can just go ahead with your keyboard. On your keyboard, just control, hold your control, and if you want it to zoom out, that is, you want it to go away from you, just control and minus. But if you want it to come towards you, control and plus. That is control and the plus key on your keyboard. You can do that and be increasing it, or just go down, control and minus. So these are the ways you can zoom in or zoom out. Now that we've seen how to create frames, we've seen how to zoom to our size. Now we can go ahead. If you want to just drag it through, come to this particular tool. It's called the hand tool. You can use it to drag frames. You can use it to adjust it to the particular position you want. So I think that's all for positioning and creating frames. Now that we have the frames here, if you want to go back, I'm using the hand tool. If I want to go back and select my frame, I'll just go ahead to the second, it's called the move, the second item here. I'll just click on it and I'll be able to like select my frames again. And if you notice something, there are 4 frames here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here in the left panel, we also have 4 names, and each of them corresponds to the frames. So you don't want to be the kind of designer that does not name their frame. What you do is, once you create a frame, just come here. You notice when I scroll through Android large is kind of highlighted on blue. If I go to 2, it's highlighted on 2. But if I want to select them without using clicking directly on the frame, I'll just click on this layer, on the name on the layer. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. But what we are here for is to change the name. So now for this Android large tool, I'm going to just double click. So just select, double click. So we are going to double click and then change the name. Let me call this screen 1. Now the name has changed. You notice it once I click on my enter, you notice the name has also changed on this frame. Let's do the same thing for this one. The name changes. And then for the last and the smallest one, we're going to change it 1.5 because it's small, or let's call it zero point 0.5, screen 0.5. Okay, now that we have renamed our frames, we've added frames to our workspace, we have zoomed in and zoomed out. Remember, remember how to add your frame, the shortcuts to add your frame, the shortcuts for zooming on your keyboard. Remember those, and then how to rename your frame. So to rename your frame, you're just going to, like I said, double click. Select it, come to the layers panel, select the frame of your choice, then double click. So now we are going to go ahead and start learning how to design. Now we are going to be using tools. For someone that wants to design, we're going to be adding shapes to our design. So here, how do we add shapes to our design? What we're going to do is this. We're going to the fourth item on our nav bar, on our toolbar. It's called the shape tool. So depending on on the tool you want to add, just click on the drop down. You can see there's rectangles here. It shows you R by the side. What does that mean? Like I said, the names by the side are the shortcuts you can use to access these things on your keyboard. So for rectangle, if I click R on my keyboard, I can be able to draw a rectangle without coming here. But we are here already, so let's just pick one of them. I'm going to take an ellipse. An ellipse is a circle. Yes. So you can create it on your keyboard with just O. I'm going to click on this because we are going to be using it for creating our screen. So I'm going to be clicking on this particular shape. Now, I'll drag it. It's showing me this arrow that I can draw. So if you want to draw a circle in particular, you can just drag it. Drag it. But if you notice, it's not equal. Like it's not looking like a perfect circle. The dimensions are actually showing down here 172 to 176. Where 172 is the width and 176 is the height of this circle. So this is my first circle. I'm going to go back here again and select it. And if I want an equal circle, I'm going to hold my shift key, hold the shift key on your system, on your keyboard, and then drag. So if you notice, when I did this, the dimensions are now equal, 186 to 186. So now that I've created my circle, I'm going to show you different things you can do to your circle in Figma. So Figma is a vector tool. Like it's a really powerful vector tool. So you can change your shapes to any dimension you want. So but for this one in particular, I'm going to show you a very wonderful thing you can do with Figma circles. So you'll notice there is a dot, especially make sure that the size of your circle is at least up to 200 or 180 or even 100 so that this dot can appear because it doesn't really appear in small circles, okay? So you don't come asking, so you don't be asking, oh, I drew my circle and I didn't see any dots. But see this particular white dot here, just hold on it and then drag. You notice it is creating a pie for us. So once you are dragging it, it is creating that pie for us. And then you come to the center of the pie of the dots and then drag this. So you see, it's creating something wonderful for us. We're now going to drag it. If you want it to meet, you can just make it meet here. Okay. So let me show you what I did here. I have a circle. I locate these dots and then I drag it inwards. Okay. When you drag it, you notice that there is two other dots appear. What you do is locate the center of the circle of the dots and then drag it inwards too. So with that, we are forming an arc. So you can have a circle, you can have an arc. You can also drag this one end of the circle to meet the other one. Okay. So this is an amazing thing you can do on Figma. Oh, why is mine not meeting? You have to meet, okay? Oh, yeah. It does meet. I don't know what's going on, but it does meet. So I think I'm making it overlap a lot. Okay, yeah. So with this, I can go ahead and change the properties of this circle or this arc. So we have them together. I'm going to change the properties. What do I mean by the properties? Properties of a shape includes the color, includes the dimension, the position, the size, and the stroke, and so many other things. So now when I'm talking about changing the properties of the circle, I mean changing the colors, changing the stroke, changing so many things about it. So to do that, you select the shape, which in this case is a circle. So I select the shape and I come to the right hand panel. Remember, not the left. The left is just for the layers. Just come to the right. Once you click and select on that particular image, shape, you're going to come to the right hand side, then begin to adjust it. So if I want to custom adjust, for instance, if I want to change the width, I come to where they wrote this W, and then I'm going to go say 160 for the width. And click on enter. Notice that it has adjusted. Come to the height because I want a perfect circle. 160 as well. Enter. So now I have changed one property, which is the size. I can go ahead for constraint. We'll talk about constraint later. But for now, we'll just change the size, change the color. So I just click on this. If you notice, it came with a color. Sometimes it might not really come with a color. But we'll just come here, click on the square where the color is, and then if you have a color in your mind before coming around, just type you just type it. But for now, we'll just click on anywhere inside of here. So now that I've clicked on this, my color is already applied. So yes, you can do so many things to the colors, like so many things. You can come here to the second box here, beside here, and choose a gradient. So for a gradient, it means like two colors. It can be two colors. It can be the lighter and the darker version of a color. You can just play around it. For the first color here, we have the pure red, which was the color we started with. The second one is a darker red. We can also change that one to say, by clicking on it, come to the second, then you can say, let's say orange. Just change it, kind of change it up. Yes, we have it. You can add as many, if you want more than one color in your gradient, you can actually also change it here. Change the direction, the dimension of the gradient. Or you can also go ahead and say, okay, if you want more, you want to add more colors to the gradient, you can just click anywhere into this lineup and click anywhere there and it will add a new color. Just keep doing that, just to your taste. For now, we are done with this gradient. I was just trying to show us the gradient. It could be linear, which is this. It could be radial. Okay, radial means the colors are concentrated in the center. It can be angular, can also be diamond. So there are so many ways you can go about color, but I'll just stick with linear gradient. So I've done that. Now, the cool thing about Figma is this. If you don't want the circle to be a pink color, you can add an image as your color. So here, there are so many ways. That's the cool thing about Figma. There are so many ways to add an image to your design. So in this color, we can also change this to an image. I'll just choose any image from my screen. I don't think I have an image here. I don't think. But let's see. I'm just trying to show us that you can, instead of using in place of colors, you can also use images. So now when I've done this, I still go back. I still go back to it. You can add videos from here. You can also change how this color look by using the blend mode. You can change so many things about the colors. For this is because it's an image, you can change the exposure, making it darker, change the exposure, the contrast. Just play around the colors, okay? That's that for colors. Now, if you want to add a stroke, colors they call it's called fill here. Now, if you want to add a stroke, you're going to just go ahead and click on. So now, if you notice something, there is usually a plus and a minus beside most of these things. So the plus means I want to add it, while the minus means you want to remove. So for this one, I'm going to just because I want to add stroke, I'm going to click on the plus for the stroke. Okay, so when I do that, you're going to notice that there is a stroke by the time I remove this. It's not that visible. So if I just want to make it like 2, or let's say 3, I'm going to use 3. And then you can change the setting here to outside. I'm going to make it outside. So now if you can notice the stroke has appeared here already. I can as well change the color of the stroke. Okay. I can make it in this case, let me make it red again. Or let's just continue. Let's stick with black. So we're going to stick with black. Uh-huh. We're going to stick with black. So this is for the strokes. Then you can also do so many things to the strokes. You can make it a dash stroke. Okay, this is how it looks now. Make it a dash stroke. You can do a lot of things with this. You can just even change the gap of the if you don't like how close the gaps are, you can make it 6 and it will get wider. So yes, you can add strokes to your design. Now, for the minus, if I want to remove the stroke I've created or the fill I have created, any of these things, I'm just going to come here and click on the minus. If you notice for the fill, which is the color, I clicked on minus and I removed that fill. Same with the stroke. If I want to remove it, I'll come to the stroke. Because I've already applied it, I just come and click on minus. But in that case, the circle is still there, but there is no color and there is no stroke. I'll just go back, Ctrl Z. If you make a mistake and you want to go back, just Ctrl Z is always there for you. So now we have our circle shape with our image fill and our stroke. You can go ahead and do some other things like adding an effect. There are I think 4 or 3 effects. 4 of them, yeah, 4 effects you can use in Figma on any shape of your choice. You can do an inner shadow, you can do a drop shadow, do a layer blur. So you just look at it. Layer blur makes that particular shape blur and everything in it blur. You can do background blur. For background blur, it is not the shape you are going to be blurring. What you are going to be blurring is the background of that particular shape. Okay, so if you notice, the image remains clear. The circle is still clear, but the background, if we increase it, the background is going to be blur. So layer blur is to blur that particular object, while background blur is to blur everything in the background. Drop shadow is just the normal shadows we know. Let me just show you how the shadow is going to look like. I'm going to be increasing the shadows. So it's not a good practice to just use a lot of shadows, but I'm going to be showing us what a shadow looks like. In this case, I'm going to make this one 8. Then this one is like, let's say 12. There is a rule. There is a rule. The rule is anything that is in either of your y or your x axis. Let's say you put 2 here, then you make blur times 4, which is 8. Let's just go ahead and just create this particular one and see how it looks like. If you notice, there is already a background here, drop shadow. This is what we mean by the drop shadow. But remember, it's not good practice to use a lot of shadows on your design. It makes it look really outdated. So when you have to learn the ideal shadow, just a very simple shadow to add to your design. In this case, according to what I had, what I use sometimes, what I usually do is just the way this is. If I want to make this 4, then I'm going to make this particular one 16. Okay, so times 4. 4 times 4, 16. So in this case, you're going to notice there is a shadow, but it's not too obvious, okay? So that is for drop shadow, that's for the effect. So now we have used the fill, we have used the stroke. We have used the effect. The export is a different thing entirely. We are going to come to that later. So now that we've worked on a circle, we've worked on an arc, we're going to come to another shape, which is the rectangle shape. And I'm going to be showing us different things. We're going to be using the rectangle shape. Just the same, come here again, you come back here, click on this, and then you draw. Remember, if you want your shape to be equal, to be a perfect square or a perfect circle or a perfect line, what you are going to do is when you click on the shape, just come here and then hold your shift key. If you want it to be a perfect circle, a perfect rectangle, hold your shift key and then drag. So in that case, it's going to make it equal. This is 162 is to 162. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I already have one here. So you come back here to the right hand panel. You can change the fill. Say here, I'm going to maybe let's going to change the fill. Change the fill here. Make it a gradient like so. Change the color of the gradient like so. Just do whatever you want that pleases you. When you're done, you just come here and close it up. You can add an image. You can change the blend here. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the blend mode, but I'm going to be doing that on a full, on a complete color. I'm going to be using so I'm going to use this color and then I'm going to show us the blend mode. So in this blend mode, it depends on what you want to do. Most times it's usually to try when you are trying to use something that it's not, you're using a color that is not too flexible, but your design, you want it to be kind of flexible. Maybe for instance, you are using an image and this is the only image you find available, and then you want to just adjust it in such a way that it can suit the colors you're designing with or something. Just come here and you'll be seeing the differences as you go ahead. This one is just changing it to white. This one is, you notice this was not the red we used, but when I used hard light, it changed the difference. Okay, exclusion, hue, saturation, color, luminance. So these things are just things that ways you can go around your design. So yes, but I'll just stick with the normal, which is this is the default. Default is normal. So when I'm done with that, I'll just close it up. And I'm going to, you can use pass through. So pass through, what pass through is very similar to transparency. So instead of 100%, I can make it like say 50. Yeah, I will notice it's kind of it's not exactly the same with transparency because it's not exactly the same with transparency, but it's very similar. So the way you can change, it was in 100. The way you change transparency, the way you also use the same thing with the this also is a this particular one you're seeing here is a transparency, so you can just switch it up over there. And you can add your stroke like you did for the circle. You can do your effects. Okay, so I'm going to be showing us what we mean by layer blur and background blur using this particular frame. I'm going to bring my circle closer. Yes, I'm going to bring my circle to the front. I want to bring it to the front of this particular rectangle so that you see what I mean. So how do I bring it to the front? So now my circle is the one highlighted. Okay, just highlight the circle. It's the one, make sure it's the one selected. Then right click on it. Then come here and click on bring to the front. Right click and click on bring to the front. So with that, if you notice with that, my my circle is in front. So now I'm going to show you what I mean by the background blur. So once I come here and I go background blur, you notice you have to change the value so that the background will actually be blurred. I'm going to make it 40. Okay. Yeah. It's not really like showing us that blur that we need here. Just know that let's see if it's going to Let's see if we are going to increase its value. I don't know why it's not really sure. I think it's blurred actually. Probably it's not quite obvious. Okay. It's not quite obvious. Probably let me remove the stroke and see if we can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Just go ahead with our designing, but just have it in mind that background blur helps you to make sure the background is not too obvious. So we'll go back, Ctrl Z. So I want back my stroke because I don't know why I like that stroke. It suits perfectly on this image. So yes, this is for a rectangle. These are the effects. You can add effects, the stroke, the pass through and everything. Now we are going to come back to constraints. So we are going to come back to what we mean by constraints. Now, if you notice something, I'm going to show us how to use a constraint. So if you notice something, I want us to see something, then I'm going to adjust the screen. Just click on it and adjust it. So I'll show you what I mean by constraint. So I'm going to be dragging this this particular screen to make it bigger. If you notice, when I drag this particular screen, the circle, the arc, and the rectangle still remains like at one corner. It remains at one corner. It's as if like it's not dragging with it. Now, this is to tell us that if you make this particular design and you want to adjust to become a desktop size, you want it bigger, because this size is for an Android phone. If I want to design for a desktop and I want to just simply adjust it, it's not going to make sense. It's not going to, because you can't see a tablet having the navigation bar and everything at one corner. So what I will just do, if I want these shapes to adjust with me, I'll just Ctrl Z and show you what I mean. I'm going to click on each of the elements and come to this constraint. So here it is at the left and the top. It's at the left and the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it from left to center. Okay, from left to center. Come to this one as well. Change it from left to center. This one as well. Change it from left to center. So now what it means is that anytime I try adjusting this frame, these things are going to remain at the center of the frame. Okay, they're all going to remain at the center of the frame. So I'm going to drag it. So did you notice? As I'm dragging it, they remain at the center. So if this is a tab, you see that it kind of works for the screen. It works for it. At the same time, also notice something. If I bring this one down here, it's still at the middle. I just want it, let's say for instance, let me change this size. It's now, I want it to remain as the footer. That's what we call it in design most times, yeah. I want it to remain at the footer so that anytime I drag this particular screen, it will remain down there. That's the constraint I'm going to, because if I don't change it, it's still going to be at the middle like I set it, but it's not going to remain at the footer. So what I'm going to do, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to just click on Ctrl Z. What I'm going to do is to come back to my constraints. Click on that particular shape, which is the rectangle. Come back to my constraint and change here from top, or change it to bottom. Okay, even the center, because I don't want it to remain at the center. Okay, let's just use center. So now when I click on the screen and I adjust, notice that it keeps staying at that bottom. Okay, it keeps staying at that bottom. Okay, so it doesn't go to the front. But if I don't do it like that, you will notice that when I'm dragging it down, it's not going to go down with me. So now I'm dragging it down. remains here at the bottom with me. So that is that. I'll be doing my Ctrl Z so that I'll go back to our Android phone shape. I don't know why I like that shape, but yeah, I'll just be going back to where we started from before I showed you about constraint. So I hope you've learned about constraint. Constraint is all about like restraining a particular shape to a point, a position in your screen. Okay, so now that we've done that, one more shape and we'll go ahead to design a screen. One more shape I'll show you, which is the star shape, because it's a very unique shape. So I'm going to show us how to use the star shape. So now I'll just hold my shift because I like to hold my shift for an equal, for it to be equal. Just hold on my shape, my shift. Sorry, I didn't hold it. I held my control instead. So I'm going to just hold it back again. I'm going to do that. So it's a perfect star. Now, there's something unique about the star shape when you are working with it. Let me make it bigger. I'm going to make it bigger so that we can see what I want to show us. When I make this bigger, you notice that those points that we saw in the circle, they appeared. So I'm going to click in on one of the circles. Guess what this circle does? The one, if you notice, let me show us again. Ctrl Z. It's the one as the like the one that is very close to the edge of the star. What I'm going to do with this is to just drag it inwards again. What does it do? It's going to round the corners of my star. So mostly this is useful when you want to do something like a star rating. Most times the star ratings do not really have a pointed edge. So I'm going to just make the edges curved. And for this particular one, if I want to change the ratio, if I want to change how many angles are in my star. So now I'm going to be, okay, okay. Hope I'm doing the right thing. Okay. This particular one is to change it to a different shape. So I'm changing it to a polygon, changing it. So now I'm going to also change the count. So there are 3 dots. It's just to tell you that there are 3 dots and the 3 of them do different things. So this one is to change the ratio. Let's go back to my, okay, the first star. I'm going to use this one to change the count. So this is the one, I want to increase it. I don't know why it's not increasing. Okay, now it's increasing. So if you notice, increasing it increases the number of edges on it. See, the more I just drag it up, like just go up, the number of edges increases as you click on that particular third star. This one is too, okay. So they are different, just play around it and find the perfect shape you want. This is what we could create with just a star. Like this is looking so different from the first star we created here. So just play around it. Let me go back. If you don't want to use this method of using the circle, of dragging it, what you would do is to just come here, like come here to this corner radius and change it to, let's say, corner radius is to change that pointed edge to become corner. You just change it, let's say to 16. So you notice that it changed. Come here as well. This is where the count, that's the number of edges. Change it here, particular place. Let's say to like say 6. It's already 5, so you might not really notice difference. So I'll just make it like say 8. So that's the number of edges increases. And then the ratio, I can make it 50. Okay. So if I want to change it back to 0, this is my star. I changed the corner radius back to 0 so that it becomes pointed. Now my star has how many edges? 8 edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. in the ratio, you can see it better here. That's the ratio is the angle, yes, it's the ratio that is the angle between them. So I'm going to make this one probably bigger. So now you notice that the edges are wide apart. So this is it. Make it 20. So 20 makes them closer together, each edge closer. So this is the amazing things you can do with your star shape. So now that we've learned most of the shapes, one more thing in this shape tool, the last thing in the shape tool, there are lines. Let me just show us randomly. I just come here and hold my shift key. Make sure for this line shape, you just have to hold your shift key, because if you don't hold your shift key, your lines will not be straight. So now that I click on my line, I'm going to go ahead and make the strokes bigger. So if I want this line to be bigger, just 20. So you notice that my line is thicker. Lines are actually thicker right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the color of the line in stroke. Change the color. Okay. Then I can also change so many things. Like you can do so many things here. Make it an arrow. You can make it a reverse triangle. You can make it a circle arrow. You can make it a diamond arrow. Just come to this second place. Okay. And change it to a square or a rounded corner. Just play around it here. Play around it. Then for this one, same thing for the other end of it, for the other edge. Okay. So now that we are done, we are going to now do, this is the same thing you do if you want to add an arrow, an ellipse. So now we are going to explore another way of adding image to our design. So if you notice, the first way I could add image to my design is by making the fill of a shape to be an image. Okay, so I could make the fill an image. In this case, there is another tool, which is you come back to this shape tool you got your shapes from, click on it, and then come to the last thing here. Last thing here is the place image or video. When you click on it, it's going to, you can be able to like upload images. I don't think I have much images here, so I'm just going to use the one I have. I don't have much images here, unfortunately. I'm just going to pick, let me see, do I have images? I don't think I do. I'm going to just pick, I hope it's a good image. I don't know. Let's see. Now this particular case is not going to automatically appear on a shape except you click on that particular shape. So in this case, if I want this image to be just on my background, I'm just going to just click on the background. It's too big, so I'm just going to Ctrl Z. But in this case, I want, like I clicked it and it was just on the background. If I actually want to let me choose another image. Do I have screenshot? I don't know. I don't. So I'm just going to click on the image once again. And then if I want this image to be on a particular shape, say if I want it to be on this star, for instance, I'll just come, because the image as you click on that image, it's going to be showing, your cursor is going to be bearing the image. So as you're going around, notice once I hover around my rectangle, it's highlighted. So what it's trying to tell us, if I click on this particular rectangle, then this image is going to appear on it. Okay, if I click on the line, the image is going to be embedded inside of the line. So I'm going to be using my star. So you're just going to go ahead and click on the star. So voila. Did you notice that the image is on the star? Okay, so instead of being on the background like it did earlier and just enlarged and was on the background, I'm not going to like go around the rectangle or the square or the arc and just click on it, and that image is going to be embedded on it. I will notice in my fill, the fill has changed. Now, if you notice that it was originally this color, but now the fill has changed to that image, I can go ahead and decide to remove it. Let's just maintain it. So, like I said, come here, go to place image, click on any image of your choice, and then either attach it to a shape, or in the other case, just open. Let me drag this and paste it here. I want to place this out very far from this because it's too big, so that we can start adjusting. So now when I place it here, it's very, very big. Like, it's a very, very big, very, very big image. So now that we've done that, I'm going to be using another image. Sorry about that, because this is not my laptop. This is the owner's laptop. One of these laptops. I don't want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose another image. Yeah. So here we go. Here we go. There are no images in this laptop. I don't know why. There are no images. There are just no images. And I don't know where I got the first image from. Oh, what are we going to do? Okay, I think we have an image here. Here, we have images here. So I'm going to just pick one. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this one. I don't like this image. Yes, we'll go ahead and use it because there is no time. So if you notice something, I'm going to click outside of any shape. So I'm going to click outside of any shape. So here we have our image. And I'm going to be showing us a method of changing the size of our image, of anything exactly in Figma. So now, you want to change the size of this. There are so many ways to change the size. I can hold on, but if you want it to be a perfect change, just hold your shift key again and come and just change it. Notice that it is adjusting, becoming smaller and in the same proportion. If you don't hold your shift key, like I will not hold my shift key now, I will just try to enlarge this picture. Notice that it is changing, it's becoming screwed. That's what they call it. So the perfect way of changing the shape of your image, of your whatever element it is to hold your shift key and then drag. It's going to maintain the same proportion, as it was when you put that image into your screen. So you see, there was no change. It's just exactly the same way. The only thing is that it got bigger. So the best practice is to hold your shift key and change your shape. Or another option is for you to Control Z. Another option is to click on key K. Okay, on your keyboard, click on K. So when you do that, you notice that the arrow changes to this two-dimensional arrow, whatever it's called, and then you can drag it. With this one, you don't need to hold the shift. It's just the same way. It does the same thing as holding your shift key. It's called the scale tool. So with this particular tool, you can adjust the size of your frame without holding the shift key, and it will still be perfect. Just learn that you should not adjust the shape of your image without holding the shift key or pressing key K. Now, especially I like using K because when you use that, you can come here and like do it automatically. If I have a size in mind, I can just come here and place in like say 400. Okay. With holding of shift, with shift key, you can't do that. It's only with K, when you click on K, that you can just come here and manually put the size that you want. Let's say 300. It's just a 300. And if I want it from the circle, okay, from the center, if you want the adjustment to start from the center, you can do that again. Okay. You can also use this one. You want it to be, okay, like for instance, if I want it to be times 2 of this present size, I'm going to do like 2. Then click on my enter. It becomes times 2. Okay, so that is that for it. That is that for. Same way you also adjust your, the same thing you can be done on our shapes. So I can just come here and still use my K to adjust the size of this, makes it bigger. Same here, click on K, come here and adjust this to like say 200. And so now that we've done so far, we're able to use shapes and images and just play around our shapes. We're just going to be creating a basic chat. We're going to be creating a Facebook feed, Twitter feed, whatever feed you want to call it, but we're just going to be creating a basic feed very quickly. We're going to be creating a basic feed that has a post, comments, all of that stuff. So we're just going to be doing that. I just hope you can do that in the next 20 minutes with using our shapes. Just shapes. We are just going to be using shapes to be creating these things in our Figma file, and then we can go ahead with our quiz, because at the end of this particular video we are going to have a quiz to test our knowledge of Figma. So now I forgot to add something. You can use what we call plugins. Then we are going to use that when we start designing. So now I'm going to teach us a very good, for those people that were in one of my classes where I taught the principles of design. If you remember, we talked about balance, we talked about alignment. So one tool that can help us with alignment, which we are going to be learning today, is layout grid. So now the layout grid can only be used on frames. That is the advantage of a layout grid, of using frames in your design. It's only frames that has the quality of a layout grid. So once I click on this particular frame, I'm going to go ahead to the right corner again to change the properties if I want to. But today, the only property I want to change here is add a layout. So once I come here and then I click on plus icon, you notice these lines here. So those lines are here to guide you. That is the use of the lines. Some people do not use these particular grid lines. There are different types of grid, layout grid. There is the grid, there is the grid, there is columns, then there are rows here. The ones that we can see here are called the grids. I love to use this because it helps me to be very, very precise, very, very precise with the locations of my tests. It's very important when you are adding tests to your screen. So it's going to guide you. They are just lines that to guide you on where to place your elements so that they will be on the same level. So none will be up like above the other. So these are what the grids are going to do for you. Maybe I should just work with it, but click on the grid. The first one, I have a grid here. I can change the color to something more pleasing. Make it maybe say blue. Okay. Also make it lighter. I'm going to make this one blue, but let's continue with the red, please. So I'm going to continue with the red, but maybe in this instance I'm going to make it lighter. To say like it's say let's use 8. And very important thing to note, it's a good practice instead of using this 10, the size of your grid, the grids are the bosses. The size of this particular boss now is just 10. Like lines are 10, the grids are 10, 10, 10. It's similar to the graphs we plotted in secondary school. So, but here it's good practice to make it 8, an even number. The number of 8, is a very good practice. So I'm going to be using this 8, and I'm going to click on my enter. So it got smaller. If you notice, the bosses got smaller. So now I'm also going to be using column grid. So what I'm going to do is, now that we have the grid, we don't want to change it to column. What we'll do, we come here and add another grid. But this time around, we are going to change it from grid to columns. So you notice there are columns now. What you are seeing here are columns. If I want to change it to a row, I'll come here and click to row, and it becomes a row. But most times we use columns. Some people make use of rows. You can replace those the small grids. If you don't like the small grids, you can replace it with a row. Okay, maybe I should do that. The count here is how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is five count. If I'm going to change this, most times I like to use like 4. The margins is to add space to the corners. Most times your design, in fact, it's not your design should have a margin. Like your frame should always have a margin. And most times for Android phones, for Androids, use about 18 to 24. So I'm going to just use 18 here. I'm going to use 18. The gutters are the spaces, these white spaces you see between the columns. My margin is 18. Once I click on enter, it will effect. Or sometimes I use 24. So I'm just going to use 24 here. You notice the margins are the space at the edges of my design. So I'm going to probably change this gutter to say 32. It got bigger. So the gutters got bigger. So yes, this is how to add columns to your design. Most times it's better you work with columns. So now we are going to go ahead and start designing. We're going to use this shape for our profile picture. Um Now I'm going to add something here. That's those screens you are going to see on your phone. But let's just go ahead and add our profile picture. This here, or I can just duplicate it. Control. I can just copy and paste. Control C. Come to my screen 3. Control V. Paste it here. So now that I've placed it, remember our profile picture will not be as, it's just something we want at the corner. It's not going to be as big as this. So we are going to change the size. Remember, you just click on key K. So now I want my profile to be around like 64, let's say 64 pixels. I'm going to change it. See, you notice that it's changed. Control Z. Now I want to show us something. I was using this K. Let me use this K again so I'll show us something. This most times when I'm designing, I like to enlarge the size so I can be seeing what I'm doing, especially when I'm using these tiny grids. So now if I click on this and click on my K, notice my K is at the center. So what happened initially was when I adjusted the size, it was at the middle. But if I make it to remain at the corners, I make it to remain at the top corner. When I adjust my size, it's just going to adjust the size and remain in that position. So I'm going to like make it 64. So you see, it remained in that particular position. I'm going to even make it smaller. So I'm going to use like, let's say 40 or 54. So this is for my profile picture. It's too big. I think it's too big, but it's just too big. So I'm going to make it 40 or even 36. Yes, so this is my profile picture. This is my profile picture. Then, like so, I'm going to add a text. So we've not used tests before. Maybe in another video we are going to talk about tests. We're just going to, if you come to the 6th item here, that is how to generate a test. Come to the 6th item and then just click. This time around, you don't need to just drag, just click on it. Click on your screen and you'll be able to type. Let me say, this is because we are creating a Facebook, a Twitter feed. So I'm going to say, hello, this is my first design. Please rate it on a scale of 100. If you want to like enter into the next line, just click on enter. So it will go into the next line on a scale of 100. So with this, I can adjust it back to make sure everything is following the line. It's on the grid line so that you don't create a scattered look. So I'm going to say, okay. Now, if you want to increase or decrease the distance between two elements on your screen, you're going to hold on the Alt key. Look for the Alt key on your keyboard. Click on the particular element you want to space and then highlight, bring your arrow, your cursor close to the one beside it and then click on the Alt. So this Alt key is showing me that the distance between these two is 12. So yes, I'm okay with 12. So I'm going to leave it at 12. Probably in next item I'm going to the next thing I'm going to do, I might need to change it. So I said this is my first design. Please rate it. I can change this can change because most it's not it's, the best practice is not to use, remember it's not good to like use a white background and a black text. It strains the eye. So I'm going to just decrease the transparency of this text to like probably 70. I'm going to change it, makes it kind of easier for the eye to see. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the particular post I'm talking about, which is my design. So I'm going to check if I have any image I'm going to adjust. So I'm going to come here, back here. Remember how to generate your image. So I'm going to come back here, look for an image. Hum, 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 hum. I think this is an image of one of my designs. So I'm going to just, yeah, this is an image of my design. I hope it is one of my designs. Uh, it's loading up, so we're going to just wait for it to load up. Show me my design before I kill somebody. I'm just going to click and see. Okay, it's too big, so I'm going to start resizing it. I'm going to click on my K. It's even in on 1000, so I'm going to make it 200. I don't know how small it's going to become. Oh, it's too long. Okay, I see what I can do. Control Z. Now, if you notice, this design is too long, so there is no way I will resize it for it to fit perfectly. So what I'm going to just do is width is in 200, but it's smaller than our one thing I like doing, which I might teach us later, is when I want to add something and I want it to cover the entire I want it to cover this entire from here to here, that's minus the margin. One thing I usually do is this. I'll calculate my margin. So in this case, we use 24, which is 48. And then I'll calculate the this is my personal secret I'm sharing with you guys. So most times I just calculate the margins 24, 24, 48, and then the width of my screen entirely is how many? 360. So what I do is 360 minus 48. It will give me area. It's going to give me the size of area outside of the margin. So now 360 minus 48 is how many? It's going to be giving us 312. So I'm going to click on my K again. I'm going to change the width to 312. Now do not mind, if you notice now it is in the same place. So do not mind the length. So what we're going to do, if you want to change the length, I'm going to be shifting this. Hold. You want to be. I forgot to add. If you want your movement to be faster, the way I'm scrolling down, I'm moving this image down. Just hold your shift key and then your down arrow. It's going to make it faster. It moves by 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the faster it is. Now I'm going to come here. And then for my length, the length of this, I want to make it shorter. I just want only this part to appear. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come to the end of this particular size and I'm going to hold my control. So now what we are doing is to crop it, to cut out the part I want to cut out. So I'm just going to hold my control and then I'm going to drag it up. Just hold your control and keep dragging. So when I get to the size I want, I'm just going to stop there. So I want it to probably be like this, like so. Okay, I don't like the white part that is showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop it. So I'm going to just I want this part to be showing. Yeah, I want this part to be showing in my design. So yeah, voila, we have it. So I want to show people that I designed this. So let me just Ctrl Z. I'm going to show this. I'm simply going to do is to what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and add a stroke so that the background, because this is white. The issue I have with this image is that it has a white background, so it's going to be the same thing with our background, so we'll not know the difference. So what I'm going to do to avoid this is just add a light stroke to the corners and just make it 0.5 so that there will be a difference between the background and the image. Just very light stroke. Even make it 0.2 if it's too much. So it's very light stroke. So now I said hello, this is my first design. Now I'm going to check the spacing between this image and my text, whether it's something I want. So like I said, you click on that image, you hold on alt, and then you go to the text, you highlight the text. Do not click on the text, just go close. After you've clicked on your image, go close to the text and then click on alt. So alt shows me that the size between my text and this image is 4. I want it to be, let's say, 8. So I'm going to like reduce. I'm going to now just move my arrow. Do not hold the shift key, because if you hold the shift key and an arrow, it's going to be moving each arrow you press and it's going to be moving by 10. So I'm just going to move my arrow 2 times. 1, 2. So with that, I've moved. The space is now 6. So I'm just going to do that. Now we're going to be rounding up in the next 10 minutes. Then I want to add my comments. I'm going to tell them to add comments. So I'm going to probably duplicate this text. Carry it down here. Just the way Facebook does it. I don't know. I don't use most of these apps most times, so I don't know. I really know how they even do it. But yeah, I'm going to try. So I'm going to say add comments. And then I think I'm going to change the size of my text here. Remember, if you want to change the property of anything exactly, you come to the right. I'm going to change it to the size to say 10 or 8. Okay, 10 is cool. I'm going to change the color, even make it even lighter, because I think that's how it works in this app. So I'm going to make it 60. Make it just lighter, just make it light. You can even come here and make it light. Just because it is a comment. Yeah, so I'm just going to add comment. Then I'm going to, this is where I start adding my I'll add my where you type in your comment, right? That's how it works, right? So I'm going to probably, I would have taught us auto layout, but I will leave that for another class, because it's not usually good to use rectangles for stuffs in your design. Usually best you use a frame. I think I might even go ahead and use a frame. Let's just make use of rectangles so that we'll just play around rectangle. Again, my size is 312. 312. So yeah, I'm going to work with 312. I'm going to remove the colors, just add a stroke, because that is how it looks like in most of these apps. So I'm going to just add a stroke of, say, 0.2, because I want to make it very light. Then I'm going to round the corners, right? Now remember, every particular shape, the first corners we rounded was our star corner. It is not only for stars, so I'm going to round the shape of this rectangle to say 16. So it's very rounded right now. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is to remove the color. So remember, to remove anything, come to this field and just click on the minus. Okay, so then I've done my minus. Check. Okay, 1, 2. I want the distance to be 4. Now that I have all this, let me even make it 8. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have where so people can come here and type in. I'm now going to add my send. Now is where we do something really interesting. How do we, I know we will be wondering, how do you add an icon? How do you add an icon to your design? What I'm going to do right now is to show us how to add an icon. So there is something we call plugins. these things are already created. Somebody created the icons. I was like, okay, I think I want people to be using my icons. So they published it in what we call a plugin. So a plugin is a third party application where you get resources like icons, logos. You can get logos. You can even get already made gradients. Yes, already made gradients. Images you can there for Unsplash, like for instance, I don't know if you've heard of Unsplash, you can find it here. So many things you can do with you can get from a plugin. So how do you get a plugin? How do we get this icon? So what I'm going to do is to go ahead here, come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh item in your I even wrote it resources. Seventh item in your nav bar, just click on it. Then come to this second one where there is plugin and click on plugins. Now I'm going to look for just type icon, a list of icons where I can get icons will appear here so that I can get my icon. So we'll just wait a bit for it to show up while we look at our time, because I really didn't want this class to extend up to like 130 minutes. But I'm just going to since there are so many icon pack here, so many people just like to help each other here. Let's just put it that way. The particular one I like using is Iconify. So there are so many icons. Everything here you see here is an icon. I'm going to be using Iconify, so I'll just click on it. Okay, most of them are paid, some of them are paid, but this Iconify is actually not paid. So just for the first time, if you're using it for the first time, just click on it, you click on run. But if you are using it for the second time, subsequent times, it's not going to, you really no need for that run. There will be no need for it. So I come here, I'll type in the icon I want, say search, send, because I want people to send me. I'm going to click on send. So here, this is how it looks like, right? It usually looks like in this app. So I'm just going to choose any one of your choice. Just click on any one of your choice. I'm going to click on this one and then click on import. The size is already here, 24 is 24. So I'm going to import. Okay. So with this size, I think it's too big compared to the size of my icon. Maybe we'll just use it like that. You can adjust it if you wish to. Just use your key. Like I said, use your key. And I'm thinking, okay, I want to make it lighter. For me, it's too dark. So I'm going to make it 80. 80 is even still dark. So 70. So there are ways to like go around this total. I'm just going to use 70 and then decrease the size to just click on my key again. It's in the middle. I just want it at the corner. So I'm going to like make it 18. 18. See, I think 18 is perfect for me. I'm going to change what is this? What is this? Make sure, remember, like I think make sure that most times what makes you a good designer, make sure that you have, for instance, this icon that is placed here. I cannot just come and like place this icon very close to the line, the border. It makes your design to look very bad. So make sure there are spaces between elements. So for instance, I'm going to hold this one and check the space. Most times you need to have to enlarge it so that you check the spacing between it and this rectangle. So here it is 15. I want it to be 16. So one more shift to the left and I have 16. Here's my send. Add a comment. Add a comment. What other things are in our apps? I don't even know. Let me check. Do we have? What are we supposed to have in Facebook? I think there is usually a test, a very light test in. Yeah, I think there is usually a very light test. So I'm going to say I'm going to probably take this country, country C and pieces and be like, say something, something nice, and then dot dot dot, right? Dot dot dot. So again, I'll make sure that it's centered. I'll make sure once I'm done, I'll click outside, mostly for tests, and then I'm going to check the spacing. This is why I like to, if it was a frame that we were working with, you will not need all of that stuff. Maybe in other classes, we are going to talk about how we are going to, the best thing to do, how to use frames. So now we've seen our rectangle on our, now if you notice, if I click on the rectangle and move it, the rest of the stuffs, the rest, they say something nice, and the other one is going to be it's not going to move with it. So I'm going to Control Z. If this was a frame, if I made this rectangle a frame, it is going to move because a frame, like I said earlier, is a container. A frame is a container. So anything you place inside or on top of a frame is going to stay within that frame in such a way that if you move that part, if this was a frame, for instance, if I move it, it's going to move every single thing because it is acting like a container. Let me show you an example real quick, and that will be the end of this class. Let me use a frame instead of a rectangle. So I'm going to take a frame, make it exactly the size of this rectangle. My size, I go back to my size, make it 312 like I always do, 312. Make it now. I'll show you something. So if it's whether it's a frame or not, because they are inside the big screen, which is the screen 3, anything inside the screen 3, I can just click on that, whatever it is, even the text or whatever, and come here because it is inside of a frame. Come here and adjust this. If I want to center it to the left, if I want to align it to the left, it will just, if I click on this, it's going to move it to the left corner. Let me add the color so that you can see what I'm talking about. So now it's at the left. Same thing with this text. If I click on this text and I click on align left here at this corner, if I click on align left, it's going to move this text to the left of the big screen. You can only do this if it is inside of a screen. If that particular element you clicked on is inside of a screen. So I moved it to the left corner. So I'm going to just Ctrl Z because this is where I want it to be. For this particular one, I will do is at the center because that is where it is. So with 312, that's my side, but I want it to be at the center. So I'm just going to come to the second one, align horizontal center. If I want to be at the top, if I want it to be at the very top of this screen 3, I'm going to do align top. And if you see, you notice it will go the way up. So, but I don't want that. So I'm going to Ctrl Z and just click the center. The size of this one was, let's use the same height. The same height, 32. So I'm going to use the same height here, which is 32. And then I'm going to remove the colors, minus, click on the minus, remove the colors, just add the stroke like I did for that rectangle. Add the stroke, make it 0 0.5, 0 0.5. Then I'm going to round the corners, make it, let's say, 16 like I did for that one. Made it 16. So I'm going to make it 16 again. Probably make the transparency, say 80. And yes, I'm going to duplicate this, Ctrl C instead. Come here, Ctrl V, sit here. Okay, so you will see what I mean when I say a frame is a container. So just if you don't take anything out of this class, remember that a frame is a container. So I'm going to Ctrl C again for this one. Come here, Ctrl V. So now I've placed it on the frame. What's my size difference again? Maybe 14, so 1, 2. So now you will see what I mean when I say that a frame is a container. Now, if I move this, it is moving. Everything inside here is moving. Okay, it's unlike this rectangle. Unlike this rectangle, when I click on the rectangle and I move it, it will just move on its own because it cannot contain anything. That is the major difference between a frame and a rectangle and any single shape at all. So when you are designing, make it a habit most times to use frames because it will help you a lot. So like this one now, it didn't move. Okay, the frame, once I moved it, was able to move, except I click on this and I drag it outside of the frame. Control Z. You notice even when you click on it and if you notice the layer panel, all this the text and the icon is within the frame. It's nested inside of that frame. That is to tell you that that particular frame, let me rename it to send frame. This is that particular send frame. It has the text which is say something nice. It has the send icon as well. So that is what a frame does. It helps you to contain anything you put inside of it. So I think that will be the end of this class. We'll continue in our next class. So I'm going to delete this, so that we'll just be making use of our frame. Just wanted to show us. So I'm going to move it back up. See why I like my grid line. So I'm going to stop in that particular place. And most times it's usually equal. I'm going to stop here. So when you are done with this, you can decide to group it. I really want to change this so that it will look better. Don't know. Let's use something else. Okay, I think this will go. I think this will go. So yes. I think this is better. With this, I can even go ahead and remove the stroke I placed initially. So I can even remove the stroke. I can also round the corners of this one to like say 8. Anything, you can round the corners of about anything. So now I'm going to just go ahead and group. We're going to talk about a better way to group our items. Okay, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to that's those little dots that we usually have in our feet. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say hold your shift key. This is my A line. I'm going to hold my shift key and drag it down. Okay, just a very short line, and change the width to, so 16 is cool. 16 is cool. I'm just going to come here. Those little dots, those tiny dots you see on Facebook. I'm going to come here and change it to like say two as well. And then I'm going to come to custom, change it to a dash. Now it's only 3. I think it's cool that way. Let's make the dash only 3. It's 4 here. So I'm just going to, what was it at? Come here. These 3 dots, remember, change it to say, let's see, let's change the gap to 3. It's still not giving me what I want. Okay. Let me see if that 4 was better. Okay, 4 was better. So I think I found what I'm looking for. So with this, you can even make it like say change the thickness. Okay. Change the color to say 80. I don't this is not a perfect stuff, but we can just make do with this for the time because I think the time is fast spent. One thing I like about the grid is that I can make this to be on exactly the same line with my image, the end of my image. Just somewhere in between. I just enlarge it and see where it fits in. And yeah, we have it. So I'm just going to I'm going to make it to be at the start or even the middle. Now it's showing me that it's at the middle, so just go ahead with it. Then I'm going to group this. Now grouping is not the best practice. There is something we call auto layout, and maybe we'll talk about that in our next class. Okay, we're going to talk about because the time is already fast spent. So um, just going to go ahead and group everything here so that I can move them as one unit. Press Ctrl G on your keyboard so that you can group. So with that, I can just move. I didn't add that one in my group, so it didn't move with it. Control Z. You can still do that, but time is fast. So now I'm going to remove the grid so that we can see what we designed. Now you don't have to like click on minus when for this grid, or in fact for most things. If I don't want to see this grid anymore, instead of clicking on minus to remove it entirely, what I'm going to do is just click on this I button to close it for the meantime so that you cannot see it. If you click on this, the first one is out and the second one is also out. So with this, you notice that there is no grid, but if I want it back on, I'll just go back to that place and click on this. It opens up again. So in this case, you do not click on minus. Do not click on minus to remove the grid. Just click on the I buttons to close it up. So here we have our first design. We can duplicate this, right? Control. I made a mistake initially. I would have added that other button, but I can still do it anyways. Just come to the layer where the line is and put it within the group. So now it's in my group. I don't know if you notice what I did. Control. Let me do it again so we can see it. If you notice, this is the group. I can change it to post group. Post group. Change it to post group. Now, if you notice, in this post group, there is the image. There is the image. There is the add comment. There is the hello. This is my name. There are so many things inside here. Here the line is not inside here, the line is not within the group. So if I'm moving this post group, I'm not going to be moving the line with me. So what I'm going to do is simply locate that particular line in my layer panel and then drag it. Just hold it and then you drag it. Make sure when you are dragging, once that post group is highlighted, just release your hand and to be inside that group. So now that it's inside the group, I'm going to just Control D, duplicate. It's two here now. Once you duplicate it, Control D, just move down. Okay. So with this, I think it's too big. I think they're too bright of a color. 1, 2, 3. I want this space to be 32. So however it's on Facebook, this is not how it's completely should look like on Facebook or any of these apps, but we'll work on that later. But now we can decide to say, let's see. Control Z, please. Let's just leave it at this. In our next class, I wanted to do something which is to add a header, a font symbol. Maybe I should do that. Okay, let me just do that. Or for want of time, we'll do that next time because time is already fast spent. I would have loved to add something at the footer where those battery and the rest of that is. But what I will do instead is to just take my rectangle, come here, Control V, just come here and just do something similar to a header, just to differentiate this. I'm going to do something here. It's not an image, so you can just do it anyhow you want it to be. Just something like this. I like the size to usually be 28. So I'm going to just change the height directly to 28. Now that it's ready, I can change the color. This one is too far from it, so I'm going to just move it a little bit. What's the space? 21, 20, okay, 24 is not bad. So now with this, I can just change the color to this. Here, we have something very rough sketch. Very rough. It's not too perfect, but we just make do with that for now. Change this to what I did there was something that would just contain. It was supposed to contain those battery, Wi-Fi, and just whatever they call it. So this is it for today. So right now we'll just go ahead with our quiz. It's going to be a test of what we've learned today. I don't think this is necessary, but whatever. We will just make our corners round again so that it will just look like a phone kind of setting. It's 24. So with this, we are good to go. If you want to share your design, there's so many things to be taught. We will not take everything today. If you want to share your design, just come here and either copy the link, come here and copy the link of your design and paste it in your maybe your email or something. If you have a particular person you want to share your design with, just type in the person's email. Let me type in my email. So that is it. So you can just invite the person to your design. Invite the person, copy the link and go and paste it and what have you. So that is how you share your design. So with this, we have come to the end of today's class. It's taken quite a long time, but I hope it was useful. So if you are a designer, if you are just coming here for the first time, please subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. Okay, subscribe to this channel and expect more videos like this. Like this is a series. This is just the first of our series, and we're going to quickly take a quiz. After which we call it a day and see you in the next class. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. This is the end of this class and we're just going to take a little quiz. Thank you everyone for joining in. So we're going to be going straight to the quiz. It's going to be a time quiz. So answer it at your own pace. And thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll go straight to that. So this is our quiz. Um this is our quiz. So I'm coming. Let's have our quiz now. Okay. So yeah, answer the questions in your own time. So yeah, I believe you got those answers correctly. Have a great day. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.